The line between horrible and hilarious has never been slimmer. We all remember that one preacher kid, right? Let's take someone like him, drop him in a D&D game with a very openly gay couple, and then see what happens. Oh yeah, this one's for those of us with a really morbid sense of humor.
Once again, we have our amazing friends at World Anvil to thank for sponsoring this video. For years, whenever I wrote my campaigns, I was confined to either pen and paper or a series of progressively harder to organize folders. The problem is, the more you add, the harder organization and keeping track of smaller details becomes. Enter World Anvil. But that's not all. World Anvil is the one-stop shop for all of my TTRPG creation. I use it to create the entire world all the way down to the campaigns within, big or small. I don't have time to list all of the functions, but here are my absolute favorites. The wiki-like articles, campaign manager, timelines, diplomacy webs, and the novel writing software. That's right, you can build a world, create and run your campaign, and then write it as a novel all within World Anvil. I'll tell you what, use my link and get 40% off of your annual subscription. See you there.
Also, an obligatory "not all Christians are like this" before the comments section explodes. Not that this will stop it. That said, let's get into this freak show. Roll post. This happened about 2 or 3 months ago. Since the Rona lockdown started, the group I play D&D with decided to pause the sessions until further notice, since one of the players works in a hospital and does not want to be a risk for the rest of us. So we decided to pause the game and wait for him. I'm so proud of calling that dude my friend, but one of the dudes invited me to play online with some of his other friends. Everything was going well until one of the other players invited a new guy, his cousin I believe, to the group. Now, most of the members of the group are around 27 to 35 years old, me being the second youngest at 29. And we've been playing D&D or other tabletop role-playing games for about 15 to 20 years. But this dude has never played and is almost 14 years younger than me. So we decide to go easy on him and make it a fun experience, teach him how this wonderful world of TTRPGs works. That is, until the kid found out that 2 of our players are a married gay couple. We were in the middle of a session hunting down some thieves and assassins who stole some blueprints for a super weapon that could change the tide of the war currently happening in the setting. And we eventually found the bad guys in an abandoned church in the middle of a forest, and we fought with them. During the fight, one of the couple's PCs gets knocked down by one of the baddies after the fight. His in-game and IRL husband goes to heal him. And after healing him, he asks him, "Are you okay, my love?" To which the other player responds, "When I'm close to you, my love, I'm always okay." They are corny AF in-game, but their roleplay is on a completely different level. We start discussing how to return the blueprints, since we had a little time and yada yada, when the kid goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Did that dude just call the other dude my love?" And we were like, yeah, what of it? They're married. And the kid goes totally insane, saying that gay couples should not be allowed because being gay is a sin, and that's why God is punishing us, and that they should be incarcerated. Look, kid, you're literally playing a game with what? Magic, violence, alcohol, premarital eye contact. You don't question any of this. And you draw the line all the way over at gays. What I just said is actually the secret shortcut to separate the bigot from the genuinely religious. The bigot lashes outward, imposing cherry-picked rules on everyone else. They're marked by having no moral accountability for themselves, only very specific groups of people they don't like, generally using their religion as a shield from criticism. Like, oh, you can't logic me out of a position I didn't logic myself into. My arguments are now invincible. My guess is that like 99% of them only believe in a god so long as they can weaponize him against others. Religious people that are more genuine in their beliefs, in my experience, have the opposite effect, making themselves and other religious people the objects of deepest scrutiny, mostly putting the weight of their way of life on themselves. Keyword, mostly. Confidence is quiet. Insecurity is loud. Roll. He said they should be incarcerated and that they must be gay because they haven't been with a good woman. And he asks us how we could play with them knowing that they're gay and living in sin and BS like that. After hearing all of that, his cousin and I told him to chill. We told him that there was no need for all that hate speech and asked him to stop being so bigoted and to please respect our friends. The kid went silent for like 20 seconds and then says, I want to kill the cleric and the fighter. Huh? What? Put the Bible in your kids' hands, they said. It'll give them good values, they said. Points for consistency, though. He has all the tenacity of an Old Testament foreskin collector, in half the size. I gotta see how this goes, roll it. The DM tried to de-escalate the situation, but the fighter told him that it was okay and to let the kid try. Mind you, this dude has been playing D&D for around 20 years, and the kid has been playing for 3 or 4 sessions of 4 to 5 hours each. The fight was 2 versus 1, and they were 2 level 12s versus a level 6 Oath of Conquest Paladin. So yeah, things went south pretty quickly for the Paladin with all the CC and the massive damage from the other PCs. After losing the battle, the kid went on a 30-minute rant about how we should have helped him since he was the righteous Paladin, and the couple were a pair of sinners in the eye of his God. Ah yes, the famous teaching of Christ, I remember it well. Commit the sin, kill the sinner. I might criticize letting the kid go off for 30 minutes, but if this happened to me, I would let the kid dig a hole too deep to climb out of, which is exactly what he did, and is exactly what's about to happen. Roll post. He said a lot more BS like that, and that he will find and kill the couple in real life. After hearing this, one of the other players, who's a lawyer, told the kid that he would press charges against him for harassment, and that threatening someone based on his or her sexual orientation is considered a hate crime, and that he could go to jail for a very long time. The kid went on full panic mode and told him that he couldn't do that because he was a minor, to which the lawyer responded, "Wanna bet?" The kid instantly logged out. After that, the dude who invited him apologized profusely for that incident, and told us that he would never invite him to play anything ever again. But the phrase, "I am the righteous insert class" here became a running gag in our group. I want to know more about this kid's religion, honestly. I assumed it was Christianity, but I mean, thou shalt not kill is literally one of the big 10. It's like impossible to miss even if you're not a Christian. Unlike condemnation of gay people, which is maybe just a little bit less obvious. At such a young age, it's hard to tell if this kid is bigoted of his own volition, or if his parents crammed his head with a bunch of evil stuff like murder. But I do know one thing, no matter which side he ends up on, when the kid gets older, this is gonna be one of those cringe moments that plays in his head on repeat when he tries to sleep. And that is the best revenge imaginable. Here's another story of a similar ilk. Roll post. Before starting my homebrew campaign for D&D 5e, I have always been a player and I was excited to be the DM and introduce some friends to the game. So I asked my group of friends in university and managed to set up a session 0 where I explained some basic rules, how to roll up characters, and the stuff we all agreed to avoid. Here in Italy, there are such things as Catholic University of the Sacred Heart. It is open to atheists like me, but it's common to meet fervent Christians. My group of friends was very diverse, and there was this guy, let's call him Fred. I should have avoided him to avoid trouble at the table, but I discovered too late he was really into religion. However, he overheard me talking about D&D with a player, let's call her Lee, at the end of a class, and he literally forced himself into the game. At the time, I was not aware of all of his beliefs, and since I was a bullied kid for my entire childhood, always the last one to be picked when making teams at school, the one nobody invited to parties until a certain age, I just couldn't say no to him, and we decided to create together a half-elf celestial warlock. Ooh, okay. I can feel the comments about what he just said beginning to swell up. But allow me to make a very brief case for OP here. Yes, this mode of thinking is wrong. However, oftentimes, well-socialized people just don't understand the desperation that comes with a lonely childhood. That stuff messes you up for far longer than you would think. It can give you a take what you can get and don't complain mindset, poisoning your mind to put up with abuse and toxicity from people who should be your strongest supports. Reasons like these are largely why I approach OPs with empathy before judgment, something my YouTube commenters loathe. Roll it. I was happy because he chose something that I thought felt comfortable for him. Well, he wanted to be the reincarnation of a god at level 1. At first, this should have told me something, but I'm a very naive person. Let's just stick with a celestial patron, I said to him. We will talk about the rest as the campaign unfolds. So, Fred joins the campaign with his warlock, and I tell him the rules discussed in session 0. The party is a safe place for everyone, no hate speech, homo, bi, transphobia, racism, and generally we also avoid triggering stuff. I tried to be as clear as possible since 3 of the players are bi. He seemed to accept everything. I asked if he had anything to add, but everything was fine to him. He had nothing to add, and we began playing in the campaign. Everything seemed fine, and I was happy that players got along, but everything started to fall apart when Lee's character came out as bi in the game and showed interest in both male and female NPCs. Immediately after Lee flirted with a guard to obtain a favor, Fred clearly says, "Oh, yeah, both men and women? You're not ashamed to live like this?" Everyone was just paralyzed, and after a few seconds of silence, I asked, "Fred, both in and out of character, you really should not say those things at the table. We stated in session 0, and you agreed with us. Don't do that again." The session ended shortly after, and Fred has not said a word after I scolded him, and he acts like he's pissed. I asked the other players how they felt after that. Of course, everyone was pissed, but they all accepted to still play with him, only so long as he keeps what he thinks for him. So I told him not to do that ever again. He nodded, and we continued the campaign. There were several red flags after that, since he was playing a, quote, lawful good character in giant quotation marks. He tried to convince the 2 rogues, the 2 characters are lovers, this is a thing for later. He tried to convince them to not kill a mob boss that they were facing. The modus operandi was the same. He says stuff like, "You guys should be ashamed of yourselves." He then stopped RPing and looked at his phone for the rest of the session, visibly pissed. Since his character was so much better than 2 assassins doing assassin stuff, he started arguing everything the 2 rogues said and did, and he even managed to steal the elven boots from them. It was clearly because Fred hated the rogues so bad. I explained to him that stealing from people is not exactly a good deed. Not even because of the alignment, but because, it's just something we agreed we don't do at the table. I can't tell what's funnier, his thought process or his actions. "Ooh, these queers, they make me so mad, golly! I'm gonna steal their boots in a board game. Yeah, that'll set them straight. See what I did there? Set them straight. I'm a righteous paladin." Nope, okay, never mind, I found it. The funniest part is his interaction with the DM. Roll post. I made him return the boots, but only after I scolded him. This time, he wrote me a message. Look in your email box, and nothing else. I was not sure why he did this, but he sent me an email. Inside an email was a Word document of 4 pages. Was it an intricate way to apologize? No. He sent me a 4-page long document where he explained why he did that, and essentially, why he was right. He hated the rogues because they seemed to be evil to his character, and he claimed to have stolen the boots because, quote, he wanted to be stealthy too. It was clear that he was really pissed by everything they did, but they are okay, good, and respectful players. They had an in-game, healthy love story, and once in a while, in downtime sessions, they would spend time together as a couple. We banned describing explicit sex, we just do the fade to black thing. But Fred freaked out, saying not so subtle stuff such as, "You're lucky that there's not the real God in this game, because he watches everything you do here. You should be ashamed of yourselves." Again, I said to stop openly judging players that were expressing themselves with harmless roleplay. And again, I get a nod as an answer and nothing else. The stuff goes on for weeks. He gets in the party's way, tries to save them, and explain why he's right and why they should do things his way. And when the rogue met his ex-boyfriend NPC, from his background, they're both male, he was visibly annoyed by that and treated them like garbage for no valid reason. The point of no return is reached when the 2 rogues decide to infiltrate a building at night to consult some documents and investigate a very dangerous criminal. A gray slod shape changer. Yeah. A gray slod shape changer who was polluting a city's water source with a concoction which transforms people into slods. Lee and Fred waited outside as sentinels. In Fred's opinion, the 2 rogues were taking too long because they hid to have premarital sex, and started casting shatter to break the building and doing stuff as should be done, alerting the guards, since shatter is a very loud spell. He messed up the entire quest, and now the party is hunted by the guards. He, again, sent me another email after that session, with an extra long Word document where he explains why he is right, and I lose my shit. I told him I'm not the one who he should talk to with unnecessary, unrequested, and obnoxiously long written documents, and apologize, but he refused to confront the other players. This guy just kept being an asshole, making people feel guilty and judging them and being awful at them for their sexual preferences, and didn't apologize a single time. No, let me phrase it more correctly. He refused to apologize. He just kept thinking he was misunderstood since he always assumed he was right about everything. Look, I have not been a good DM, since I should have acted differently, but I have some issues in excluding someone from the game. And as I said, since I was the one who was always excluded from activities and so on, I tried to mitigate every issue and reasonably talk things out. I finally did end up kicking him out of the campaign, and everyone thanked me for that, but I still feel bad about it, since players themselves were not comfortable, and I have not done so much to keep that shit away from them. Fred just seeing gay people, pouting about it, and then destroying the game like a child, all the while claiming to have the moral high ground is rich. Hilarious. This is some of the most fun I've had reading any of these horror stories. But to be serious, OP, if you're watching this, don't be so hard on yourself. I understand, everybody who's been there understands, and anybody who can't at least sympathize with where you're coming from is not somebody you should be taking seriously on this situation. Till next time.